You really love your child. I know it may sound offensive. However, let's find out. So, we call every child is a unique, every child is a particular nature, a particular persona. But when we are talking about this uniqueness, this nature, this persona, what does it actually mean? So, let me first begin with what it actually does not mean. So, by nature, it doesn't mean that a person's behavior is nice or a person's behavior is obnoxious. So, nice behavior and obnoxious behavior is not a person's nature. Nature which is not properly used may seem like an obnoxious behavior, but nature in itself is not nice or obnoxious. So, this is what I wanted to first clarify what it is not. But now, what exactly it is? So we all are born with a particular physical configuration, right? When we take birth, all of us have different color, different features, different looks, and all those things. This is physical configuration. At the same time, every individual has a certain kind of psychological configuration, which is primarily what we are going to discuss here in terms of the natural tendencies, the nature, the persona of a person. So let's understand this more in terms of certain examples. Like we see the first example. So whether we like things to get done, work done, or we are more oriented towards people. So it's not either or. Let me clarify this. It's not either or. All of us spend time being with things, doing things, getting work done. All of us spend time being with people, doing things with regards to people. But given a choice, if we had a choice, whether we will leave people to get things done or whether we will leave the work to be with people. So you can think about in your context, like I am thinking right now in my context. I mean, I have already thought about it a little bit. So you can also think about it in within your context. So this is a particular kind of tendency, particular kind of nature of a person, particular kind of psychological configuration of a person. Let's go into the second example in this context. So some of us are outgoing, some of us are more reserved. So you might have observed, you might have seen within your own class during school days, or you might have seen in case of your children, or just a simple observation that if we go in a classroom, a teacher is speaking something, some of the children are always responding. Let's say if there are 50-60 children, some 8-10 are always responding, always interacting, and others are maybe within their own world, maybe talking to their friends. So again, all of us are outgoing, all of us are reserved. Based on the situation also we make these choices. But again, if we had a choice, what is our preference, what is our tendency? We all have a particular inclination, tendency, and nature, right? I'll also give certain real world examples to connect this concept. Another example, whether we prefer to be more cautious about things or we prefer to take risks. So this is again a natural tendency, a psychological configuration, right? And another example is about people getting motivated towards or by motivated away. What does it mean is like those who get motivated towards, they are like when they do something good, they really praise themselves. I nailed it, I did it. And it's about goals, they are achieving results like that. And those who are motivated away from certain things, it's like they want to avoid things, avoid problems, focus on mistakes. So again, these are natural tendencies. It is not about bad or good. It is always about the context in which this nature is utilized. So let me give you an example to clarify it more, and it's very important. So if somebody is in the field of accounting, right, will we want that person to be more cautious? What kind of person will we prefer in that field? More cautious or more risk taking? Obviously, somebody who is more cautious. It's facts and figures, so many numbers. If everything comes out to be wrong, it going to have many consequences. Similarly, let's talk from perspective of a news editor. So if a news editor is motivated, suppose a poem comes to a news editor, and he finds poetry very nice, very good, and he's feeling a lot of happiness inside, and he will just say, okay, let's publish it. And then he will be asked, what does it mean? Like, you don't want to check for the spelling, you don't want to check for punctuations, you don't want to check for the grammar. No, poetry is so nice, let's publish it. So this is more like a motivated towards something. But here we need somebody who has a natural tendency, who is motivated away. identifying the problems, identifying the mistakes in terms of grammar and all those things while the poem is ultimately going to be published. Similarly, if we see from a perspective of, let's say, an inspector, a police inspector, so what kind of natural tendencies would we prefer in such a person? Or somebody who is inspecting our airplane, so do we want them to be more cautious or risk taking? Obviously we want them to be more cautious. Okay, just fly this plane, just go ahead with it. No, we don't want to be motivated towards it in that sense. So these are all psychological configurations which all of us have and which all of our children also have. And what I meant by do we really love our children is, in the best case scenario, what should be the best case scenario? The best case scenario is what a person's persona is, natural tendency is, psychological configuration is by default. The source of earning, the nature of work, the occupation, the career, which is ultimately the source of earning, must be it must be aligned with their nature. So this is generally not discussed in the education system. It's not there. There is reasons for it, but that's not what I want to communicate right now. But what we can do, if we really love our children, we just not decide about where the whole world is talking about the trend. Of course, whatever is there in the world in terms of work, career, occupation, it has to be somewhere, because ultimately we have to earn money also. But in the best case scenario, that thing is aligned with who a person is uniquely, the person's persona, its natural tendencies, the psychological configuration, and this requires patience, observation, and an intention that we actually want our child to be in such a field. Now, what happens is, in the world scenario, the world is not like okay, let's discuss about engineering. So the third industrial revolution and the second industrial revolution, third industrial revolution, and now the fourth has started. But primarily in second and third, the if we see from a country perspective or the world scenario perspective, a lot of things needed to be created, a lot of engineers required. Now, is every person who has done, thousands and thousands of people have done engineering, now is everyone who has done engineering actually belong to the field? No, but the opportunities were showed to be only in that direction. And there is a shift which has happened now, after the fourth industrial revolution, after the COVID thing, and all the consequences of focusing on just economy and the sustainability and the global warming and all these things are coming. So the focus is now shifting on all other aspects also. But the point is, in the real world scenario, what happened is based on what exactly was required in the world. I mean, what was based, because it's economy driven. So certain careers, certain work were made, like there are so many engineering institutes, colleges, and all those things. I'm talking here about engineering because engineering is, the whole world, IITs, NITs, even I myself prepared for it without knowing what is my nature, what is my natural tendencies, what is my personality, and all those things. Just you getting marks in maths, you go after 10th, you go for government exams, state government, IITs, and all those exams, and other good private institutions in different places, wherever you ultimately get a good package and an opportunity. So that is important. However, the point I am saying is, in the world scenario, it's not the best case scenario which has happened. And then we can observe so many people who have actually left the field, or we can also observe the people who are working because they are earning, because they are trained in that way. However, very, very, very less number of people are actually happy with the nature of work itself. So when we are talking about do we really love our children, we want them to love what they do. At least, if not love that kind of love, but at least they like what they do. And that's where understanding these natural tendencies, these psychological configuration of children is so very important. So we cannot argue with happiness. This is a statement I heard from one of my mentors, and he said, you cannot argue with happiness. So a person who is situated in a field where he's earning his money from something where his psychological configuration is aligned with the field, the person will be definitely be happy with the work itself, and that will make the overall life happiness. So in conclusion, if we really love our children, what exactly we want? Only we want to focus on getting them to the top of the top of the top of the top of the top, and it's like top, top, top. Or we want for them a happy life, a contented life, which is also financially good, financially stable, financially growing. We want a holistic life, or we just want to focus on the best of the best school, the best college, the best institution, best foreign education, I mean overseas education, and best company. So that best has to be in the context of who the person is, based on their nature, based on their persona, their psychological configuration. That's when we actually showing our love in a real sense. All right. So thank you for watching this till this point. Whatever you want to share, you can share in the comments. And if you liked it, please click on like and love symbol if you loved it. Thank you. Bye bye.